Friends, we are live. Welcome to CFLW, the show on this Monday, April the 28th. Hope you guys are doing well. Coming up, hey, we've actually got some rain to talk about. We're trying to drive in a couple of showers right now across Central Florida. And we're going to have a little bit better opportunity later today and overnight and into tomorrow as well. Again, we are absolutely desperate for whatever Mother Nature wants to give us. So coming up in this show, I'm going to break down exactly how that's going to transpire. Of course, we'll get into some city by city forecasts and look ahead to what the rest of the week holds as well. As always, CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida. You see the logo at the bottom of the screen. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. Anything that could impact you or your property, they're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. All right, we're going to get started here, guys. Great to see you on this Monday. Let me know in the comment section below what's been happening in your area. How was your weekend? Did you stay cool? That was the big story about this weekend, having to try and just beat the heat. My goodness, you know, it felt like it was mid-summertime out there. I mean, it was absolutely pretty incredible here. I'm just firing up my tablet here so I can get the live chat going with you guys. But that was the story. I mean, it felt brutal. How you doing, Garrett? Good to see you. Hope things are going well with you. Again, temperatures right now, let me get this logo off the screen. You know, they're getting hot already. We mentioned it in the last video that we're still going to have our easterly breeze. So we're still going to see temperatures along the East Coast much cooler, relatively speaking, than what we're going to see in central and western sides of the area. So even as we approach the 1 o'clock hour, you're going to see some areas that are punching to right around 90 degrees. We started off pretty comfortable in the 60s. We're also trying to get a couple of showers out there for you right now. As we get into things, we'll start off with our live cameras. Live look outside right now from Winter Garden, western side of Orange County. We are looking off towards the west now. Eventually, we'll find some thicker clouds moving in and the opportunity for a couple of showers. At this point in time, though, we actually still have mostly sunny skies here in the western side of Orange County. Good for you, Garrett. That's my man. Get a little 18 holes in there. How you doing, Linda? Great to see you. Thanks for joining the Monday show. 77. Can't beat it. Gotta love it. I'm jealous, there's no doubt about it. Let's jump on over to the Conway cam. Now we're looking to the east from this camera. So again, looking back towards our east coast, this is of course going to see the winds coming towards this camera. You can almost see that the ripples on the water there from Lake Conway. Little bit more of a vertical development to the clouds for today. Nothing outrageous as of yet, but as this weak system drifts a little bit farther south into the area, we have the east coast sea breeze coming on shore. We're going to get enough lift and crank in enough energy here to finally at least develop a couple of showers in the area later today. And then on over towards our Disney camera, again, we're a little bit farther from the coast, from the east coast, so you're just going to see some more flat clouds than anything else. Kind of a hazy bit of sunshine out there as well. Again, temperatures on the board right now, they're getting pretty darn hot, and they're going to get pretty darn hot for the rest of today. Now, with this system, we are going to drive in slightly cooler weather. All right, so at least there's something to talk about if you're looking for a little bit of relief. Let's show you the broader perspective here. You can see that we have this very broad spin just off of the coastline of Georgia. We're trying to drive in a couple of showers here through portions of Duval County, back towards Jacksonville, and eventually this is all going to try and fill in kind of to the south and to the west, and then this stuff is going to try and be picked up and be pushed inland as well. So again, right now we're still dry across the area, but there's some hope that we're going to get a better chance for some showers and storms in here. Here's the visible satellite imagery. Again, you can see the thicker cloud coverage right now. Temperatures on board again along the east coast are going to be in the lower 80s. You notice that over the last couple of frames, those temperatures didn't budge, where the western areas just shot up like a rocket. Again, it's all about that east sea breeze, and you can clearly see here on this high resolution visible satellite imagery the beginning of that sea breeze working its way inland. So if I pause this at the very end and we take a look at some of these numbers, Daytona Beach already has that due east wind, and they're at 82 degrees. Ocala has a variable wind, which means it's just going to get darn hot there, and they're in at 88. And Crystal River, Homosassa Springs, has a touch of an east wind again, but we're still dragging in hot air from inland areas when you get that far west. An east breeze is not going to help you out temperature-wise along along the west coast, but it is going to do you some good along the east coast. Again, a southeast wind in Titusville at 82 degrees. Right now, the Melbourne Palm Bay area has a northeast wind. And that's the other interesting thing about this is we should pick up just a touch of a northerly component to this breeze. I'm going to throw on the surface winds here and bring those a little bit bigger so you guys can see those a little bit clearer, but there's just a touch of a northeast wind here out of this big blob. And again, if you guys haven't been kind of paying attention to the weather, because I don't blame you, we've had some very active weather north of us, especially back into the plains and into the upper Midwest. But you can see this defined front kind of beginning to drive in. Now, the interesting thing is it's been able to make a little bit more of a push a little bit farther off towards the south. The front itself is beginning to kind of just stall. It's never going to make its way fully here, but it should drive in enough instability and lift in the atmosphere to provide us with some showers. So I've got the fronts on the map for you right now. Notice all the wind howling behind that front as well. So again, for time, a little bit out of the north and to the east. While we're here real quick, guys, and we're getting into the forecast, appreciate you guys tuning in. Do me a quick favor, hit that like button for me right now. That really helps to support the channel more than you think during these live streams. Just like Linda and Kevin coming in and saying good afternoon. I appreciate you guys commenting. This is what I love to hear. Let me know in the comments section below if you have a question. I'm going to answer Linda's in just a second. You have a specific question, please feel free to ask that. If you just want to drop in and say hi, I love the interaction as well. Linda says, I'm waiting for the raindrops. I am too. So what's the week looking like? That's exactly why we're doing this, Linda. I've got you covered. This is why we're doing this Monday live show. We cover the rest of the week. I jump on Friday. At the same time, we cover Friday and the weekend show. So we're going to get into it. SeaWorld on Friday. You got it, Linda. I will remember that. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well there in the Lakeland area. Let's take a look at our current winds across the area as well. So these are going to be our gusts. And again, fresh winds along the East Coast. The visible satellite imagery clearly shows you that the sea breeze is marching in. Now look, this is not the wet season sea breeze, okay? This is just a little bit of an east wind associated with our feature to our north and to our east. We had the East Coast sea breeze across the weekend as well, and I mentioned it in Friday's show. There was going to be about a 13+ degree temperature difference from inland western areas to our East Coast over the weekend. That's exactly what we got. We had some low and mid 90s in Marion County and Lake County towards the western side of Orange County, eastern Citrus, Pasco, Hernando, Hillsborough, and then along our East Coast, Flagler, Volusia, Brevard, Indian River counties, gorgeous, low 80s, a couple of mid 80s just inland, but relatively speaking, it was much nicer there. So again, let me go back over to the radar here. And you can see, again, this is not just going to be some rain. We do have the opportunity for a few rumbles of thunder. Now, I'm not overly concerned about these storms getting too strong, but of course, I always monitor the situation. But what we really want more than anything is just give us the rain. That's what we need. And that is going to be trying to get in here in some areas later today, for some others tonight and overnight, and for a few more areas the opportunity for a couple of showers to redevelop tomorrow afternoon. So we've got, about a 24-hour window here to at least get some showers. Unfortunately, again, is that it? Or is there a little bit more in the way of some rain after that? We'll get into it here in just a second. I'm going to bring on the drought monitor real quickly as well. It's a bad situation. If you didn't join us for Friday's show, the new drought monitor is not a great thing. First of all, everyone is at least abnormally dry, okay? That's what you see in the browns, right? You're abnormally dry. It means you're on the verge of a drought. The yellow is that we're in a slight drought. The orange, you're in a moderate drought. The red is that you're in a severe drought. There is one more category higher. It's called an extreme drought. That would be a maroon color. We're not there yet, but portions of Volusia County from Daytona Beach and Port Orange inland towards De Leon Springs and DeLand, excuse me, far northern lake, and then, again, kind of northeast lake, northern lake, eastern sides of southeastern sides of Marion County, far northeastern sides of Sumter County, also in that extreme drought. The bottom line is there's so many of our areas that have had about 40% or less of what we should for rain from the beginning of the year, but we can actually take the dry weather all the way back to October of 2024, where we've basically been running a deficit in all areas since then, and it's a problem. At least at this point in time, we're okay with the relative humidity for today, but again, deeper into May that we get, without really getting our sea breeze systems to come in here and provide us daily showers and storms, the wildfire threat gets pretty rough out there. Yeah, I hear you, Linda. Got some well-needed rain here into the last week, really greened up the golf course. It sometimes just takes a couple, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just takes a couple of good rains and you kind of stem the tide and you turn the corner. But man, we are desperate for it here. There's no doubt about it. So let's break down kind of what the short term is going to look like. The first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go all the way out here to our United States map. All right. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because we have a very complex storm system to our north and west, which is going to drive in a lot of severe weather and potentially could bring us some rain and storms later as well. Remember, we mentioned in Friday's show how, potentially starting late this week and into next weekend, we get a little bit better chance for some showers and storms. That is a wrapped up area of low pressure in the Dakotas. And I bring this on because, unfortunately, we have an extreme risk of severe weather for today. And I always like to mention this. Even though, this is our CFLW show, I always like to mention this because you never know where you have relatives, people who are watching, and it's an unusual place. Southeast Minnesota, northern Iowa, western Wisconsin, that's a moderate risk. That's a 4 out of 5 from the SPC as far as the opportunity for severe weather today, and the risks are actually extreme. Long, strong tornadoes, long track tornadoes are likely in these areas. And, that could get close to Chicago. It could get down to Kansas City as well. And then a secondary area where we're more than likely going to see some long track tornadoes would be developing here in the panhandle of Texas and working their way kind of east into the western sides of Oklahoma. But you get the idea that this is a massive storm system here. Now for us, right, I mentioned that I'm not too concerned about any risk for severe storms. We are under this light green. That is just the general thunderstorm risk. We are expecting garden variety showers and storms. And I'm not going to mind a lightning strike or two if that means I get some heavier rain in my backyard. But it's a potent storm system. We're going to, we've been in a very active pattern in the central United States the last 2 weeks. We're going to be getting into May, which is typically even the higher part of severe weather season. For tomorrow, that front kind of drops off towards the south and to the east. And then on Wednesday, more severe weather opportunity in the southern plains. Now, again, for us, that is not going to be the risk. This system could produce a little bit of moisture down in South Florida on Wednesday to provide a couple of showers in those areas. But for us, not expecting us to see any threat for any stronger storms. So again, with that not being the case, let's just get some rain out here. Beautiful presentation here, by the way, guys. This is our infrared satellite imagery. You can clearly see as this little feature gets off of the coast of Georgia, how it flares up. The brighter cloud tops are your higher cloud tops there. And again, this is going to kind of just meander along our east coast. But because we have our onshore breeze, we're going to start to tap into some of that moisture and bring us a couple of showers and storms. It is scary, Linda. Again, if you know anyone who lives in those areas, just make sure that they're weather aware. It's as simple as that. Again, not any direct impacts for us. I always monitor everything upstream, but I'm not too concerned about that one for us as well. All right, so let's get into how this is going to play out with the chance for some rain. First of all, again, just to kind of bring this up to speed here, let me do this real quick. Let's go back over to our Florida radar. And let me bring up our local radar sites here. So we'll start with Melbourne. And again, scanning the skies live for you here on CFLW. I want you to notice that these clusters of storms that are offshore, first of all, again, they're far away, right? But they're pretty stout. I don't know if there's really any hail here. We're shooting so high in these cloud tops. But look at all of this lightning, right? It's a lot of lightning strikes in a little cluster. And you notice that our polygons are pointing south and west. And so that's what we're trying to do. Now that the East Coast sea breeze has already marched inland, hopefully all this comes along for the ride. It gets sucked in, right? Gets sucked in. Went the wrong way. But you get the idea. That's the plan. We're going to try and take all of this that's offshore right now and get it inland. If we look at it from the Jacksonville radar site, again live here on CFLW, it's a good cluster of storms. And I got to say, and we'll talk more about this on Friday's show if you want to, but May in the central and north Atlantic could be very interesting. I don't know if it's very interesting tropical, but it's very interesting mid-latitude cyclone spin-ups. There's a lot of energy right now already in the Atlantic, and these very powerful storm systems that are still coming off the United States East Coast are feeding into a lot of spin in the atmosphere already. And again, temperatures in the sea surface are already pretty warm. So that's what it looks like at this point in time. So let's get into the forecast. All right. Look at the HRRR model here. High resolution rapid refresh. This model updates hourly. I'm going to go start it here at 2 o'clock. And we'll go out the full 48 hours. All right. So again, what we want to try and do is take all of this and drive it inland while also getting some showers and storms to develop in our northwest areas and slide down the west coast. The good news is, I think that there's a chance that everyone who's listening in Central Florida gets some rain out of this system. The bad news is it's in and out of here pretty quickly, and I'm not sure how many areas are actually going to get a lot of heavier rain. We'll take whatever Mother Nature wants to give us. It's just nice to see some green on this map here. But again, it's a system that's kind of losing its energy as it comes in, but again, we'll pulse it up. We'll try and get a couple of showers and storms. So let's break this down. By the next hour, we could start to see some of this already drift in just south of Jacksonville. St. Augustine, if Blue Goose joins the chat, you can let him know. He might catch a little bit of rain earlier than the rest of us. And again, it's great to hear you guys. Thanks for chatting. Come on in. You got a question? Let me know. And Linda, I haven't forgotten about you. We'll get into the Friday's forecast, I promise. So again, we're going to try and drive in some of this activity through the rest of the afternoon hours while also promoting a few new showers and some isolated storms in our northwest areas in the afternoon. So you get up into Putnam and Alachua and Marion and Levy, maybe northern Citrus and Sumter County. So, you know, Denellen, Ocala, Williston, Gainesville, Crescent City, Palm Coast, northern sides of Flagler County. There's your chance. Right? By the evening hours, it's the same situation. Now, we could have a few more showers down in the landscape along the immediate East Coast. I saw that a little bit earlier today with one of the older runs from the HRRR, but this is the newest run right here. But you notice that there are pockets of heavier rain. And here you go. You get an opportunity that if these cells can kind of be out there by themselves, that's some heavy rain, probably a pretty good amount of lightning, and at most, some teeny tiny hail. Now look, these storms could pulse up. I'm not saying we won't get a strong thunderstorm or maybe even isolated severe, but nothing is expected to be widespread, okay? Then as we go into the evening hours, the models want to favor I-4 west in the short term, right? So you kind of get this energy sliding down the I-75 corridor, and maybe we get some decent rain for Orlando and Orange County in general, especially along and west of I-4. So, you know, Apopka and Ocoee and Winter Garden and the Lake Buena Vista area, and then out west towards Claremont. And then heavier rain along I-75, Bushnell, Dade City, Zephyr Hills, the Villages has that opportunity. And again, this is this evening, and then beginning to die out a bit, but trying to push even farther south and west into, you know, southern sides of Hernando County, southern sides of Pasco County and into Hillsborough County and Pinellas County as well. But fret not, East Coast friends. Here comes your potentially better opportunity. Again, I think there could be a few showers this afternoon, but here comes your better opportunity tonight. This is midnight and then overnight. So maybe we flare up some showers here for Flagler, for Volusia, for Brevard counties during the overnight hours. That would be a great time to get some rain because it's cooler and it's not going to evaporate as quick. Again, you get the 3 o'clock shower. How much of that really gets into the soil to help things out? You get the 3 a.m. shower, you're doing better. Temperatures are a lot cooler. We're able to get a little bit more into the ground. But there you go. So it's Titusville, Sharps, Merritt Island, Vieira, Satellite Beach, in the Atlantic, Palm Bay, right on through the wee hours of our Tuesday morning. The HRRR model here says, hey, we're going to throw some showers back into the forecast, and then we're not done. Look at this. Nice little development here. Now that we've opened that up, it's kind of like a gate, right? And the winds are still going to be already out of the east. And so now this moisture will easily come back on shore, and we could run this back again. Now look, this could be spotty light rain but it could also be some pockets of heavier rain. The one thing I'm a little bit unsure of in the forecast, and I've really gone back and forth looking at some of the different models, and I don't know if I have a great handle on this part of it, to be honest, is the development of the showers tomorrow behind the initial system, right? Is there really enough juice in the atmosphere to get us anything more than just some spotty light to moderate rain? It's a possibility, but you even notice that the HRF fades it through the afternoon hours a bit, maybe tries to re-energize it along the West Coast. It's a very interesting forecast for tomorrow. I put in a broad brush shower chance for tomorrow, but still could be pockets of decent rain into our Tuesday afternoon. Patience is a virtue, Linda. We got to have it this time of the year sometimes because we have been running extremely hot and extremely dry. We've been in the low and mid 90s already. Already kind of uncomfortable in some of the pools, I would imagine. But you can clearly see again the change up to this. And that's it, friends. This is our chance. This is what we need to get, is whatever we get late this afternoon, and then redeveloping tonight and overnight along the East Coast, and potentially one more redevelopment of some showers and storms into our Tuesday afternoon. Those are our opportunities here for some heavier rain. Wouldn't expect it again to be appreciably high, but at least the opportunity is there. When we take a look at the total precip on the HRF model, I'm just going to take this as a single frame. I'm just going to go out to the 48-hour period. You get the idea, right? It's the definition of hit or miss. And again, the model is just painting on where it develops the heavier rain, but even if you don't see anything in your area, you could get some of these heavier pockets. So if we look at this, again, look how localized this is. You know, in portions of Flagler County, it wants to try and drive in 3 inches of rain, but then it has nothing in Crescent City. You want to talk about a hard forecast? There you go, right? But what I really want to look at is what is the high end, what's the low end? The low end, unfortunately, is nothing. And there will be some areas. I could see you guys on Friday, and you could absolutely come back to me and say, Rusty, I didn't get a drop. Didn't get a drop. Blue Goose, how you doing, man? Great to see you. 82.5 degrees, a little 62% humidity. I have been lurking for a bit this afternoon from St. Augustine. Good to see you guys. Waiting on that rain. Blue Goose, you got the chance, man. Maybe even a little bit earlier than everyone else, but hopefully we all get in on the act. I hope everyone gets a few showers, but again, this is the interesting nature of this one. You know, we've got 2.5 inches of rain here. You got nothing in downtown Orlando. It's a possibility. It absolutely could play out like this, but determining where this heavier rain sets up is an extremely tough thing to do. I can't talk in those specifics. No one can, but we can look at the generality of how spotty the rain is going to be. There will be a couple of spots, I believe, that at least get 2 inches of rain, but I think it's going to be very, very few. And again, you're going to have a higher chance of not getting anything. That's how this is going to play out. Look at that. How would you like to be me right now, talking to you guys about how much rain you guys might get? It's not a really fun forecast, but this is a nice little preview, of course, of what happens with our wet season. When these thunderstorms develop and very localized wind patterns and fashions, and you know, I've seen it so many times, and I'm sure you guys have too, if you've lived here for a while. 6-7 inches of rain, and that is not an exaggeration, in one spot, and 5 miles away, a half inch. I mean, you know, that's even crazier localized, but we're in that pattern right now with a little bit of an east breeze. So that's kind of the overall look as far as what I expect. Let's get into your city by city forecast. We'll start off in Orlando. Now, the one thing I want to say about this is thankfully because of the northeast breeze, it is going to be a little bit cooler the next couple of days. Now, again, for Orlando, I have a 20% chance of showers possible for tomorrow. If we're going to get some heavier rain in Orlando, it's probably going to have to happen in the morning hours because it looks like this begins to fade in the afternoon. Maybe re-energizing along the immediate west coast on your Tuesday, but for Orlando, again, maybe a couple of widely scattered showers later today, and then a few more showers tomorrow morning, but not bad temperature, 83. And then it dries back out again. Mostly sunny on Wednesday, 85, begins to build back up to 87 by Thursday, but at least we're not talking about low and mid 90s, right? Temperatures again in the morning hours that are able to dip back down into the mid 60s. So we haven't hit the hot part of the year yet because our temperatures in the morning are not at or above 70 degrees. That's a big benchmark here in Central Florida. Is, you can say goodbye to any opportunity for cold fronts, north winds, when you start to see those morning lows at or above 70 every day. You can say hello to our hot season and our summer season and just building heat from there. But at least we can still have a touch of a north wind to drop those morning lows a bit. Now again, Tampa, I'm a little bit more optimistic for some rain tomorrow. And again, we're not, these 3-day forecasts are not talking about today, right? Tomorrow, the redevelopment of some showers and a few isolated storms should be a little bit higher along the immediate west coast. So Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Hudson, up towards Weeki Wachee, Spring Hill, Homosassa, Crystal River, Hernando as well. 89 the daytime high. Now it's going to be hotter here a bit. 91 Wednesday, 90 on Thursday. Just sunny and hot. Again, drying out a bit. A little bit more, just spreading our temperatures with a few upper 60s for morning lows. But our chance for rain in Tampa, again, a light spotty shower today, or we're redeveloping a couple of showers tomorrow. Now, Ocala should have a better opportunity for showers and storms again later today, and then a 20% chance for a few showers tomorrow. The rain chances are a little bit lower up in Marion County tomorrow because they're inland, but they're also farther west. And so those showers should fade a bit. And again, with Marion County and Ocala not being along the immediate coast, they're not going to get that re-energization. They're not going to re-energize tomorrow afternoon as much along the west coast. But again, not a bad feel to the air tomorrow. 85 the daytime high. Look at those morning lows Wednesday, Thursday. You want to get outside and enjoy some comfortable conditions. I don't know how much lawn mowing we have to do, but you want to do a little bit of gardening, want to get that morning round of golf in. Wednesday, Thursday is chef's kiss, back to the low 60s. We'll take it. It's going to heat up in the afternoon hours, no doubt about it. 88 Wednesday and 89 on Thursday. And, what happened? I had one more graphic. I might have not put it in. Hang on. There it is. Look at that. Ask and you shall receive. Melbourne, not going to forget my friends in Brevard County. Again, Melbourne today could see a few showers come in very late tonight and overnight. So your best chance in the Melbourne area could be before daybreak tomorrow. And it's not a horrible thing. Again, you get the rain in the overnight hours and it's cooler. A little bit more of it sinks into the soil and helps you out a bit more, right? So I've got a few showers in the Melbourne forecast for tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we'll stay a little bit cloudier there overall, which again will bring in very comfortable temperatures. The beat goes on along the East Coast. It's been great. 81 the daytime high tomorrow. For Wednesday, 68 the morning low, but 80, that's it for the daytime high. And then sunny and nice on Thursday, 82 degrees after morning lows in the upper 60s. Hey, I appreciate it, Blue Goose. Thank you for the kind comments. And I appreciate you guys being here. If you are, again, thank you so much for clicking that like button. Thank you for subscribing to CFLW. If you haven't, again, this is a live-only channel. I'm coming to you guys on Monday and Fridays because I want to keep that constant contact. We can chat about things, but of course, when any significant weather hits us here in Central Florida, I'm live to cover that for you guys as well. If you're just tuning in, let's take a look at our cameras one more time. Live look from Winter Garden, looking off towards the west. No real big development of the clouds as of yet, but again, hopefully tomorrow we see a little bit more. This is from Lake Conway, and you can clearly see the difference. That camera in Winter Garden was looking west. This camera is looking east, and we're starting to see a little bit of that cloud coverage get a little bit thicker and a little bit higher vertical development. Nice little fresh breeze there at Lake Conway, and again, all this is pushing towards the camera as we look off towards the east. So you can clearly see what's kind of slowly developing, nothing imminent, but we're trying to get some of that. And again, live look to the Disney area. Still looking good for the attractions for the remainder of the day. This is not going to be weather that is going to impact any outdoor plans. I want to be clear about that. Now, that does not mean we're not going to have some lightning. That is absolutely possible, but if I've still got outdoor plans, I'm not changing anything based on the forecast, but I'm staying a little bit more weather aware. I mean, heck, for the first time in a while, we have an opportunity for that. Let me clear off these rainfall totals and we'll get back into things. And again, right now, nice little cluster of showers and storms off of the East Coast. Those are going to try and continue to drive their way inland. We get back over here to this main timeline that will allow me to loop this back up. And again, nice little bit of lightning too. Not going to mind the lightning because that means we've got convection. We've got heavier rain developing along that. And this is all going to try and slowly drift its way on into the area. If we take a look at the radars here, this will be the live radar out of Jacksonville. Again, if you look on this here, a little bit of a south to west component to all of this. It's still relatively far offshore, but it's trying to get here. So let's see here. If I bring this up, so from Palm Coast, we're still 100 miles offshore, okay? But from near southern Duval County, about 50 miles offshore. So we're trying to get all of this to come in. Now again, that's not going to necessarily be the only game in town, right? Let me, yeah, that should clear it. You can literally see here on the Jacksonville radar, a couple little showers trying to develop here just north of I-10. This is kind of, I think, the next development area inland, right? And then all of it tries to push a little bit farther to the south. But it's going to be a little while. It's going to be a bit. It's still going to be hot and dry here, at least for the next few hours. Visible satellite imagery, current temperatures. Again, if you're just tuning in, we were talking about our East Coast sea breeze. There it is. Do you see the development of the clouds here? Inland sides of Flagler County, back to Putnam, Lake County. There's your sea breeze right there, coming in, going to allow everything else to hopefully kind of follow in with this and drive in. And then also just enough instability here along and south of I-10 to try and start developing some showers in the next hour or two as well. Appreciate it. Okay, Linda, we'll go over a couple other things real quick. Sadly, there's no excessive rainfall risk. We've already talked about the potential rainfall. Not a lot of advisories in play or anything like that. Let me just double check the Melbourne. I'm loading it up on my system here. Yeah, we've got the rip current risk, and that's it. So there's not really any, no reason to really talk about that as well. So for Linda, we bring up the GFS model. Again, the GFS model, because it goes out much farther in time. So GFS. That is rain from the GFS. Reflectivity. And, we'll look at it today too as well. So let's see, today's the 28th. That means we've got 30 days in April, which means it is May 2nd by my shoddy math for Friday. But here you go. So let me get the model timeline back up for you guys. And Linda was asking because she's heading to the attractions on Friday. You said SeaWorld, right, Linda? You got it. All right. Take just a second here to fully load things up. By the way, again, anyone who knows anyone in the Western Great Lakes today and down to the Southern Plains, all modes of severe weather, including strong long-track tornadoes, are likely. You can see by the end of this forecast, it gets a little bit more interesting. Remember, I mentioned it in the Friday show, that the 6 to 10 day time frame actually looked a little bit wetter than, normal. But at least through Friday, Linda, so this is going to be Thursday, and here's Friday. You don't see anything. Right now, Linda, at this point in time, I would expect it to be hot and dry across Central Florida on our Friday. Eventually, we are trying to push this back into our area, and this could be something that could come our way for the weekend, and we'll talk about that on Friday's show. All right, but for right now for you, Linda, I would expect it to be dry. Not too concerned about the next system picking up enough forward speed to get in by then as well. But again, as I've mentioned, hot. Could easily be 90, low 90s for Friday afternoon across Central Florida, because we're definitely going to have a south wind by then, right? And we'll be watching for this to try and come in with a few showers and storms for next weekend. Now, I've mentioned the temperatures and the outlooks. So let's take a look at this. This is going to bring up your 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Again, it doesn't take into account the first 5 days, so you can throw out the work week, but starting this weekend into early and mid next week, we're actually going to be kind of on the precipice, if you will, of seeing temperatures actually right around where we should be for this time of the year, okay? Not the worst thing in the world, for sure. We're in that gray. Now, it's going to be a slightly higher chance farther north to maybe be a little bit more in the way of warmer than average. That's what this is giving you, the percent chance of where your temperature is going to be compared to normal. If you're gray, you've got an equal chance of being hotter or colder. If you start to run into the oranges and reds, you've got a better chance to be hotter than average over the 6 to 10 day time frame. You can clearly see the juiced up atmosphere in the northern plains, which continue to provide a lot of severe weather. So you've got this ridge building here, you've got this trough out to the north and to the east, some cooler weather there. We're kind of wedged in between. We kind of get the scraps of the storm systems more than anything. And then you actually have some pretty significant Pacific storms coming in to bring some cooler weather there to southern sides of California and portions of the southern sides of Arizona as well. When we look at the rainfall, and this is the biggest thing, it actually has us wetter than average, okay? We're in the green, and this is what we want to see. Again, this would be basically starting this weekend into early and mid next week. So at least it looks like we are going to have a better opportunity to try and drive in some more significant rain starting this weekend. We may only get scattered rain this weekend, but hopefully overall we begin to open things up a little bit as well. Now, the interesting thing is that what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and catch some of this energy from the southern plains, ride it along the northern Gulf Coast, and pick up some of that moisture and to provide us the opportunity for showers. Because eventually we're going to actually see much drier air build in through the Ohio Valley and nudge its way south. And so we've almost got to keep what we call a blocking high in place to not allow this drier air to continue to push in. It's going to be a battle, but hopefully we stay with average temperatures and a little bit better chance than average to get some rainfall back into the forecast beginning early next week. Food Fest, there you go. In a skillet concert. Is that like they play their music on a skillet while cooking you something as well? Little eggs over hard, over easy, little pancakes, is that it? Or is there a band whose actual name is Skillet? Because that would be awesome as well. I'm sure it's the actual band name. How you doing, Jay? Good to see you today in the house from Puerto Rico. There's no doubt about that. All right. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys doing that. Live look to the radar here. One more time. I know a lot of you are tuning in because you want to know when some of this rain is going to be trying to build in. And again, I believe that chance begins to develop later this afternoon, overnight, and through early tomorrow morning. One more look at the HRRR model for those of you who are just joining us live, and I appreciate you guys joining us live too. That means a lot to me. If you are watching in the recorded version, you are still absolutely happy to drop a comment below. First of all, that helps the channel. Secondly, if you have a specific question about the forecast, don't be shy. Just like Linda asked about what was happening on Friday in Orlando, I'm happy to answer those. I do go back over them and I take a look at things, and happy to answer those questions for you guys. But appreciate you liking the video as well. So again, the remainder of this afternoon, watch the showers try and develop here towards Alachua County, back towards St. Augustine. Some of that's kind of coming in from the East Coast. Some of this is kind of developing inland as well. All of this should try and drop south for the remainder of the afternoon hours and into the evening. Now, it's favoring the I-75 corridor of Central Florida tonight. For our for our East Coast friends, so Flagler, Brevard, Volusia counties, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, Oak Hill, back down towards Titusville, the Cape, Mare Island, Mico, Barefoot Bay areas. I think your best chance is late tonight and overnight, which again is a great thing. It's absolutely a great thing. Although your definition is actually kind of cool. I mean, wouldn't that be great, Linda? Right? You get some food and you get to listen to some great music at the same time. You know, Skillet should provide you some food. That's all I'm saying. Just throwing that out there. But again, you can see for our East Coast, your best chance might be overnight. And that's not a bad thing because again, not as much evaporation out there. And then we'll just have to see how much this redevelops tomorrow, right? Could be a little bit of shower activity pulsing up along the I-95 corridor tomorrow morning. And as it drives west, weakening until it hits the West Coast in the pinned West Coast sea breeze and tries to develop maybe a little bit heavier rain. So if you live in Newport Richey or Palm Harbor or Clearwater or Tampa, Brandon, St. Pete, Bradenton, Sarasota, this is right around 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. There's your better chance for a few showers there. Now, as far as severe weather goes, not going to be really in the cards. This light green is just your general risk for thunderstorms for the remainder of today and overnight to tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow's risk is, as I've mentioned, kind of west if it redevelops, and it's very conditional for tomorrow. But does that mean there won't be a pulsed up, strong, or isolated severe storm? It doesn't, okay? There could be that. It's just we're not expecting anything widespread enough for the SPC to put even a marginal risk in, all right? So not too concerned about that. And again, I'm not going to mind hearing a couple of cracks of thunder out there, because if it happens in my area, it means I finally got some heavier rain for the first time in a heck of a long time. But as I've mentioned one more time, because I don't want to gloss over this, because a lot of folks are watching from various parts of either the country or they know people in various parts of the country. There's a very high tornado risk today in some areas that you don't normally expect it. As a matter of fact, on the SPC outlook here, if I go to significant tornado, what this means, friends, is that within this polygon, there's a 10% chance or greater within 25 miles of any point of an EF2 to EF5 tornado within this polygon. And again, it's an unusual situation, right? People in Green Bay don't normally have to deal with EF2, EF3 tornado potential. Minneapolis, places like that, but that's where that potential is. So when there's something significant like that on any of the channels that I do, I always just want to point it out, because you never know who it might help out, right? I'm with you, Blue Good. Look, man, we all need it. Oh my goodness. I mean, there is no one who is watching from Central Florida who has had anywhere near their normal rainfall total since October of last year. And since January, a lot of us have had about a third to at best 40%. And again, you can clearly see what the easterly winds have done to keep our temperatures along the East Coast in the lower 80s. And it's already scorching out west. It's already 90 degrees there towards Spring Hill. Okay, friends, I appreciate you guys. I think that's going to do it for our show for today. As always, CFLW, the show, sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state. Anything that can impact you, meaning being in a car accident or your property, burst pipe, hail damage, wind damage, hurricanes. They're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Again, we never like to think about it, but if you want an advocate on your side, someone who supports the channel, you can always go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Appreciate you guys doing a quick favor, hitting that like button for me right now. Thank you for subscribing to the channel if you haven't as of yet. As always, I'll monitor the situation. If there is a need to come back on and discuss a few of the storms later today or tomorrow, I will. That being said, I don't expect them to be extremely strong. You know, they might pulse up for a time, but nothing organized as far as severe weather goes. So more than likely, I'll probably see you guys next Friday at 1 o'clock for the next CFLW, the show where we will be talking about that next system getting closer for the weekend and trying to kind of open the can up a little bit and get us a better shower and storm chance and just some rain overall as we push into the beginning of May. And probably on Friday's show as well, we're going to talk a little bit more about the tropics. I hinted that kind of the Western Atlantic looks to be a little bit more juiced up and energized, especially with a lot of spin into early and mid-May. So I think we'll cover that as well. A little bit of an interesting thing here. Sometimes we get systems in May, and I'm not talking about anything kind of close to us, but just some of the things I've looked at in the longer term that, you know, the model's taken to mid-May. I'll tell you this right now, they get very interesting. So friends, you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Again, I hope you guys get some of that rain. If you do, come back and let me know in the comments section below. I want to hear it. If anything else, I'll see you guys Friday at 1 o'clock for the next CFLW The Show. You all take care, and I will see you then.